Hello, welcome to this video. This is a reading here in case you have missed the title. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and this here is a September wrap-up reading. I typically do these, or I try to do them every month, but not always does it feel right. Not always is it divine timing, right? So this month I thought, yes. And today happens to work out so beautifully because it is the 27th. We have already passed the equinox, and now we're really in this sort of transitional energies, right? We have crossed the threshold. We're in the last week here of September, gonna move into October, and I love to do these sort of transitional wrap-ups to see really how we have worked with the messages all month long and the themes and what we've learned and what we should take with us or even perhaps let go of before we move into this next month. Today is 27, which I was saying, right? And I think this is a perfect day to do the wrap-up reading. Not only does my schedule fit it here in this morning, but also 27 is such a lovely reduction to 9, to completeness, right? It's partnerships and mysterious wisdom and knowledge, mastery coming together to create or to show really the whole. the whole picture, the whole gist of it, right? And when we have beautiful partnerships, duality, contrasts, different minds, finding likeness together to find the 7, which is really spirituality, mastery, all these things that come with deep knowledge and wisdom, you know, working knowledge, not just, oh, I know that because I saw it 5 times, but oh, I know that because 500 times I have done this sort of motion, or I have walked through this circumstance or this lesson or whatever. And so now I really understand it from many different perspectives. That's what 7's about, the mastery. That's how 2 and 7 come together to create wholeness. Because what does the whole really contain except for all contrasting points and their beautiful harmonic middle ground? And so yes, here we are, middle of the week, at this pinnacle 9, transitioning into October. I just thought lots of wonderful synchronicities to bring us to this reading today. And so I have some Palo Santo going to just clear the air because I feel that's nice to do. I'm not going to do a whole grounding like I do on my Friday videos, just because I've already done my meditation and stuff this morning, and withdrawing all the cards, the video gets long in itself. So if you need a moment to yourself, if you have kind of clicked onto this video, you feel a little disconnected, rushed, or unrooted, you could pause it right here for a moment, take a few cleansing breaths, right? Connect with conscious breathing, with your body, with the present moment, with the heart center, right? And just draw all of that in alignment, and then turn the video back on. For us here in the now space that feel ready for it, I'm going to pull my deck out here and make some space. Now, if you are new, or maybe perhaps you don't remember from last month, actually I might not have done August, I might have done July only. But typically I do a 4-card spread here for this kind of wrap-up readings. I really like this spread for this sort of intentions because it allows us to see conclusions and transitions pretty clearly with just 4 cards. And so just for a quick walkthrough so people know, but I will kind of talk about it as I read the cards as well. The first card is usually the signifier, oh my gosh. My brain is a little wonky this morning. The first card is a signifier, right? Usually in typical tarot, and that means you, or whoever the question is about, or whatever the cards would like to speak on. And so the first card will be representing the present moment, where we're at now, what the cards would like to speak on about where we've been through this month, and what the theme is, pretty much, for this reading, right? The second card is usually I put the first card upright, put the second card laying horizontally underneath it. And this second card is like the hurdles or the boundaries or things that have either blocked us and perhaps we could have done better to get through them, or they are hurdles and obstacles that we went over really well, and the cards would really like to showcase us how well we have gotten through those things. So I love to keep that card horizontal, not showing in upright or reversal, so that people can interpret it directly into their lives and say, oh yes, I know that, I recognize this theme and I did well with it, or oh, I recognize those little things and ooh, I kind of did skirt around those this month. So you'll see what the card means for you for that placement. The third card is all about the month that we've had, and things from the past, perhaps, that, like I said, either we need to remember and take with us like bare bones moving into the future, or perhaps there are things that we need to take with us as warnings or reminders, a heed of some sort to be cautious of moving into the future. And always that will have an anchor or a tie back to previous things in the past, right? Even though perhaps they might become more relevant in the future, they're really past based. They're really anchored in the past and have to do with things from that direction of time. And the fourth and final card in this spread is about the future, about what we have coming up to us next, most prevalent in the near future. It can also be, not only can it be congratulatory type of thing or a warning, it can also be a potentiality that they'd like you to ruminate on. Whether it means that it's something that could happen that you're supposed to navigate towards, or it's a potentiality that's negative that you're supposed to sort of work to be aware of and perhaps avoid, or perhaps approach with caution. So we'll see what the cards have to say for that. But that's the fourth card, so we'll do that, and then depending on the messages and the energies, I'll see if I'd like to draw this sort of cherry on top fifth card from my Fairy Oracle deck to just give us remaining insights if necessary. But let's get started here since I've already rambled for 8 minutes. I'm going to just quickly close my eyes here. Centering myself here in the present moment. Joining my inner child, my higher self, all those beings who witness my journey here in spirit around me. Step into this beautiful heart-centered space of seeking and understanding, of assessing and witnessing, all together here. Feeling our conscious breath and our aliveness, our intentions and attentions grouping together. We thank you, ancestors, ascended masters, saints, angels, source, God, spirit, elementals, fairies, all of those beings of higher density and frequency who observe our beautiful journey here with empathy, kindness, benevolence, unconditional love in their hearts. We thank you for your presence, for your audience, and we ask you for support, guidance, or wisdom pertaining to this month of September, our transitions, our fluid movement through. We ask if you could offer us some points of advice or guidance as we change directionality and focus here on moving into the next month, October. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I'm just going to shuffle my deck here for a moment. They're excited. Whoops. Okay. Card 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wow. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. We'll do 2, 3, and 4 here. Okay. So I'll just quickly show my deck here. I have my cards set out. I'm going to work to find, again, a better setup like I had before with the dual cameras, but it takes some time, and this morning I just wanted to kind of be as quick as I could. So we're doing kind of this mashup. So that's the reading, that's the spread set. I'm going to pull all the cards front faced and look at them, and we will go through them. Okay, so we have card number 1 as reversed, the Page of Pentacles. Here, I'll show it upright first. The Page of Pentacles. And it did come up reversed for the present moment. Second card here. It's my good old friend. The 5 of Pentacles. And I'm sure everyone can find positive and negative hurdles and obstacles that they have made through this month surrounding the 5 of Pentacles. The third card, right, our past, things to remember to take with us and to bring with us into the future. The Star. Remembering you are a star. You are the star. And the fourth card is another reversal. We have the 4 of Rods for our future. It is reversed in the spread here. One thing quickly, in case anybody is kind of new, or just to my personal preference about reading reversals, because some people don't read reversals, and some people stick with the reversal meaning that comes with the classic tarot books. Which all of above are correct in their own ways. Me, for myself, what I prefer to do with the reversals is to see them as a message that either it's going to be a lot of work to pull it upright, or to just be mindful that we really want to be embodying the upright meaning of the card, and that perhaps we will find a more comfortable, maybe even apathetic, though, this thing that's not wanting to change, a more sluggish sort of calling and settling down into the reversed, more shadowy, more negative aspects of the card. So that's just my little to-do here at the beginning. Feel free to hear, to call forth and understand, and to recall whatever reversal meanings that you might have, or upright meanings for the cards. Cards are here to speak to us each individually. But for this card, for the Page of Pentacles, for our present moment, right? The other thing I kind of want to lead into about reversals, right? For me, I read them along with time as well. So when we have reversals that present themselves, and we're talking about present moment here, like card number 1 reflects the present moment, that really is reversed. And we will look at the reversals, the energies that are reversed, because they are an accurate temperature of right now, right? The cards really can pull accurate energies for right now. And so the temperature of that card is most likely very accurate to be in the reversed. When we see reversals popping up and we're asking about future things, and we have a reversal in place 4, right, for the future, it's so important to remember that, just like Schrodinger's cat, right, or just like, holding a placeholder of 0, All potentials are possible in that. In the card of the Four of Pentacles in the future, both the upright and the negative qualities of the card are both in the brewing. They're both in potentiality. Right now, perhaps more potentiality is a little bit more solid and pulling down on that negative reversed side. But that doesn't mean that as we move through and towards the future, that more positively anchored pieces couldn't light up and be more attractive, and that we end up pulling it upright. So don't feel like, oh, you saw a reversed Four of Rods in the future and you think your whole foundation's going to fall apart. It doesn't always mean that. And there's tons of chances and choices to make before you get to that point. And instead of it being a foundational cracking, it could be a strong foundation building, which is the upright, right? So just keep that in mind here as I go through the cards. So the Page of Pentacles in reversed can feel sometimes like you can't get things, you can't make money. Every way that you try to make money, it starts and then it kind of falls apart, or you self-sabotage it, quote unquote, or little things just happen and it just doesn't come to fruition. A lot of times the issue with the reverse Page of Pentacles too will be that the page is the youngest suit in the face cards, right? It is the youngest, the freshest face, so to speak, the closest to numerology. And so it can play the blame game a lot. And a reverse Page of Pentacles can really be blaming others for the reasons, or blaming the project, or blaming circumstance, scenarios, products, quality, supply chains, all these sort of third-party reasons that your craft, your pentacle, your money-earning thing isn't coming to work. It will be like you'll want to blame everybody else. And yes, perhaps some of the weight of the things that went wrong are bearing on other people's input, right? But at the end of the day, and at the end of your project, at the end of your dreams, your path to owning your energy currency and to free-flowing service, which is really, the Pentacles are, yes, about money and physical material things, but on a more esoteric level, they can really be about your currency, how you use your time, how you use your energetic currency. And so perhaps we're feeling a little bit externally blaming people. And it's important to remember that we hold the reins of our own lives. We ultimately are the ones who should bear the responsibility of the pass or the fail. You can't skirt around and put it off on others. So take your time with yourself, with your projects, and know and recognize if you're doing that. And if you are, work to turn it upright. Work to take some self-responsibility. Work to see how you played the role. And then when you see that, how you played the role, and maybe you fumbled a little as well, you can say, oh, it's, it is what it is. No crying over spilled milk. I forgive you for that. We'll make a better choice next time. And help yourself to forgive and heal. It could be a great practice for self-healing. And as you forgive yourself for in the mix, the fumbles that you did, you can then turn your lens and your heart's light onto others in the mix and start to forgive them and to stop blaming them. And as you move through that and you gain wisdom in that, you'll be able to heal that and feel better. I would say turn the card upright, but it's present moment card. So it's really like we have lessons to learn about these things. It's not really about forcing it to change or forcing yourself to put a smile on and be the positive version. It's really just about honestly assessing how you could possibly be doing that and playing a role in that, and then taking charge of it, taking acceptance for it, saying, yeah, I did play a part. Well, better time next time. So let's move into the second card here, card number 2, which I did talk about being hurdles, obstacles, choices, and tests put in front of us for the month of September and how we've gone through them. So the 5 of Pentacles, just in case anybody isn't aware. 5s, in Pentacles again, materials, crafts, how you make your way in the world, how you spend your energy, how you spend your money. The 5 is shakeups, chaos, changes, uprooting. It comes with a lot of disruptions. And so here at the end of the month, right, beautiful cards are reminding us, especially through that lens, through the scope of being that page, right, being the reverse Page of Pentacles. Look at your projects. Look at all of the obstacles and hurdles that you've made through, and give yourself a pat on the back. Don't go to it critiquing yourself, you know, hopping over the heart, getting into the ego with the bright light of this, you know, the flame, and burning things, and getting mad, and trying to cast judgments, and force things and critiques and you're bad and all this. Get out of that space, get up into the heart, and really look at it through unconditional love. And be grateful for those obstacles, or those ways maybe you've managed money really well. Maybe you mismanage it in a couple of ways, you know. And I'm speak for myself. This is perfect messages for myself for this month, because it has been great management and then poor management. And to learn the lessons between the two, right? The other big thing that comes in with the message of the fives that I love, the Five of Pentacles message, is that, yeah, these are disruptions in material world. They shake up, and a lot of times can be disruptive, catalytic, and negative around money. But what it shows you is who's there when all the money's gone. When the chips are down, who's with you? You know, and the fives across all the different cards, the different types, and the themes that decks come in, the Five of Cards traditionally will always show a pair together, a man and a woman together. Because you find your soulmate when you have nothing to give, right? You find your partner who really will stick by you when everybody else leaves, when everything falls apart. So perhaps you had some of those moments this month, but look what is left over. Don't let the disruptions and all of the losses be your focus. Focus on what you have left, what you do have, which is always the main message of all fives anyways, right? Because 6 does come after 5. You know, 4 and 6 are really stable, happy, even numbers, right? But there has to be, there's always disruption, there's always contrast. So appreciate it instead of demonizing it. And try to do that with your faults and over the month as well. So the third card from the past, right, we have the Star. Such a beautiful card. I really love the peacock here in this deck. I just love the Aquarian deck art myself. But the Star card in itself, right, think of true north. Think of that first Polaris, that brightest star in the sky, the first star I see tonight. Wish I may, I wish I might. That connection that you feel, being that one out at night, seeing that first star, being the star of your show, right? All of these themes, all of this energy that lets you know that the universe does move around you. You are the center point of the astral body's beautiful orchestra and dance. And you do shine, and in your own ways. And I'm sure this card too is telling us, remember those ways that you've shined, those sparkles, those recognition points, the way others have seen you as a star over the month. Appreciate those, keep those memories with you, keep them alive, and bring them into October, right? Bring them through. Another thing, I love how this is the Star, right? And we've been through sort of like, we have these very materialistic cards, the Pentacles, Page, and 5, that we've really been embodying and moving through. That's been the energies of September, right? Very, very materialistic messages. But the Star is like opposite of that. It's the eternal flame. It doesn't need money. It's free flowing. It's everlasting, right? And so remember those points, those guide points of your own, and we'll be able to use those stars to navigate into the future. And what's the future look like, right? Right now, we have, and it's acceptable to me, right, as we are in a bit of a more negative lens, right, at the present moment, with the Page of Pentacles being reversed, that there's no wonder that our forecast for the future has a little bit of this negative undertones to it. A little bit too tight on the money, right? A little bit too tight, a little bit too much focus on the material. The real flavor and flow is able to be felt when you relax your grip a little bit more, right? When you can actually feel the horse's reactions through the reins, right? And then and you can guide a little bit with more gentle hand when you really recognize where the flow is at and when you slow down enough to listen. So as we're going through and as we're transitioning into October, keeping loose grip on your projects, keeping a loose, fluid oversight on how you're moving through and into these foundationally building projects, right? Because the Four of Rods is really all about how your deep passions, your deep roots, your space of home, your fractal little piece that makes you, your purpose within God right now, right? How that is your firm foundation. And how that, honing into that and building around that, is what really creates a strong, supportive, stable structure, which is all about the four, right? The four pillars, four walls, something that's very stable and built, upon standing structures already. 1, 2, and 3, right? In the four. They all come together in this beautiful way to create a feeling of solidity. And especially with the rods, right? Because it would be very interesting, and I would be like, wow, if it was the pentacles as well, we would see like a very material-minded sort of collective. But where we have material and then we have a balancing, right, of major arcana, and then we also have the balancing the rods card here. It's like a calling forth of ancient archetypes and ancestry and of heritage and rooting, right? That's sort of like on either side of us right now. And yes, we have the material in the middle, but we have these very light borders around us to remember why we're focused here on the material, why we have these pentacles, these coins, these money, this tangible currency, why we have this model and this sort of copied version, this 3D version of all these things, right? What kind of energy do we go into it? Because our intention will guide how that Four of Rods shapes in your future, whether you're able to pull it upright or whether it's going to sit reversed for you, whether it's going to be in the future, this month to come, really things that sort of call you towards supporting and finding the cracks in your foundation and going and doing that work, or whether you will sort of do a choppy, trashy job, Mickey Mouse the whole thing, know that there's a bunch of cracks in the foundation, or know maybe that it's like tilted like this and you're supposed to do some digging and straighten it out and then plant the foundation, but you want to be lazy around it and not do that, so you just plant it anyways and hope for the best, right? Those are the kind of things to be mindful moving into the future. That's how you will shape your future and determine whether your rods are really able to empower you and really be able to divinely call forth those things that will manifest physically or not, because thoughts and intentions create everything. So as we're going into the future, be mindful that your thoughts first, the way that you plan it out, the way you dream it up, then you call it forth, then you build the real dress, right? The dressmaker has the mannequin, the rules, the structure that every dress must follow, right? It has to have a shoulder space, the head hole, it has to have a waist, and it goes down to the feet. It all has a rules of structures that the dressmaker must follow. But what she puts on there, the colors, the lace, the different textures, and the even different colorations added, hues and things, right? That is the intentions. That is when you draw, you build out the picture of the beautiful dress in your mind and you see it. You work your best to find those in physicality and make the dress in physical life, right? But that intention of building that, that's the energy they want us to focus on. That's what they want us to remember and to pay attention to. Because if we're having a negative intentions in building and we go into that dress worried about making mistakes, taking too much, putting too much thought into it, even not just allowing your creativeness to flow and your art, it to be an art with it. You really make it too much like measuring and has to be perfect and isn't really intuitive anymore, right? So bringing these dreams to intuition, and then through intuition manifesting and through bringing them to fruition, right? That's really what the reversed four of rods wants us to remember and think about. Because if you are conscious about the way you step in with your power, with your rod, the way you wield it, and you call down the things, whatever you build is going to be more like what you've imagined than if you're playing games with yourself, and if you're trying to cut corners, and if you're trying to just get it done, just make it look like that, and that's it, you know. That's not really what creating and building your life's about. It comes from passions. The journey is the destination, really, right? Just like when we write a song or when we paint a painting. Yeah, the end song, you hear the final and that's it, you know, or yeah, you get to look at the beautiful final painting. But for the artist, that part about doing the painting, living in it, building it up through layers and pigmentations and seeing what comes through, or hearing the song and adding in lines and being able to take out things that don't work well, that whole process, the aliveness of creation, is really what artists go into it for. That's really where the money's at. That's when you get paid. That's the retribution. That's your energy transaction currency is happening in real time for you, is in the mix of making. And so remembering that, going into your projects with that, is what will in the future bring that card upright and be like, bam, I do have this beautiful four of rods here, this beautiful foundation, a homestead, a secure setting for myself, my projects, my life, my dreams, my ancestors, all built around beautiful passions, art, intuition, all of these beautiful things that come with the rods. And so yes, what a beautiful reading here for the end of September into October. I think I will draw one card from my Fairy Oracle, Fairy Ring deck, just to give us a last piece of sort of insight. Maybe if we're having trouble connecting with that inner passions, those intuitions, those the little insights of creativity that inner child really speaks to us with. Perhaps if we're having some difficulty remembering how to get there, or dealing with, some kind of shadowy parts of us that perhaps are blocking ourselves, or maybe we have some shame or guilt built around childhood memories or experiences that make us sort of not want to get into this creative space. That's sort of gotten us into the reversed page of Pentacles energy instead of the upright energy, right? How we're feeling right now in the collective. And one card just fell straight out. Ah. Wow. The trowel. And sorry about the lighting here, but this is the trowel. The Two of Winter. Dualistic card, right? And yes, it is. It has, you see the coins in the corner here. And the Fairy Ring deck doesn't actually follow the tarot, really. This isn't to do with the coins or pentacles, really, but the winter in itself is the theme, like we have for the four for tarot. In this deck, we have the seasons as the themes, right? But the trowel in itself is a message about money. So perfect insight for why we're having these kind of feelings, right? So I was just looking, I just caught my eye here. I'm just going to read this about the Trow's great festivals of Yule and Midsummer, and that's interesting that to me. Sorry. Anyways, I'm going to read here directly from the book, and then I'll just give my own little brief thing after. It fell on the ground sideways. I'm going to read upright and reversed here from the book, just so everybody can hear and you can choose which message might be for you. When the Trow creeps into your spread, someone is taking advantage of your good nature. People who will make no effort on their own behalf are abusing your generosity. This may refer to friends or relatives who impose on you, borrow from you without repaying the loan, expect you to pay for everything, or take up all your precious time and attention. Inconsiderate guests may outstay their welcome and abuse your hospitality. And so, yes, I mean, maybe you're facing this, and this is, maybe you've been having issues all month like that, recognizing them, being confronted with them, how perfectly that molds with our 5 of Pentacles, hurdles and obstacles for the whole month. And also that could really make the page's aspects more negative, right? Because the page in itself is like newness, new, like I said, the first freshest face in the face cards. It's more feminine, it's more emotional, it's more intuitive, and it's all about new, new ideas, new paths, seeing things in a new way, wanting to make new friends, wanting to make, new ways to make money is the Page of Pentacles, kind of, but yeah, perhaps you've been having these kind of issues with, like I said before, about having issues with others out there, right? That could be really what has turned your card up negative. The reversed meaning, the other side of this card, the Trow card reversed, indicates that if you do not take care of something and recognize its true value, you will lose it or it will be taken from you. An interesting offer or gift may be withdrawn if you gossip or boast about it. And yes, so perhaps, the page can also be kind of a gossipy, really social card. It can be really externally focused. So perhaps you're feeling bitter, or you're feeling abandoned or neglected because maybe you were offered or given something that looked really great, and then you bragged about it and it was taken from you. Or perhaps you were given something that looked so wonderful and you thought you could make a bunch of plans around it, or you thought it was a great idea that you could build off of a lot. But then when it came down to it, you really just couldn't get it going, right? You just couldn't make it happen. And or also you what's the word for it? Not bragging, but when you have an idea and you over explain it to others and it sort of loses its fizzle, or as soon as you have this sort of epiphany or idea, you go to explain it to somebody and it doesn't make any sense, and then you get negative undertones about it. You feel like it wasn't that good of an idea, or you feel like it was stupid or shallow, and those things get reflected onto you. So perhaps you're facing things like that within this month as well. Where this is cherry on top card, let's also take these understandings and these reminders and just give it a bit of a buffer zone into the future as well, and to understand coming up in the next week or two to be mindful of those around you, how you're interacting with them, what your expectations are, what your preconceptions are, right? If you're really respecting sovereignty, are you really living your life awake? Are you actually going into projects and into building and into your life as a co-creation, not just with you, but with others around you, with source, with spirit, with your higher self? All of these aspects, can you leave space and open it up for them? Because they will really help you in this month to come to anchor in and to bring this Four of Rods upright to fruition beautifully, and to help you build really firm foundations in this month to come. So that has been the reading here. I scanning quickly just to see if there's any residual comments I'd like to make. I don't think so. So I guess I will close it there. Thank you so much for joining me for this wrap-up reading for September 2023. I hope you have found personal notes, collective influences in here. If you feel like anything really does resonate with you, I'd love to hear about it. You can leave a reply or comment if you'd like to encourage others in any way, or you send me an email directly and privately. My email's always in the descriptions below, or you can find me on Telegram. So, A. Marie Speaks, obviously, or amariespeaks.com. My website is always there. Plethora of free tips and tools are over there, along with plethora of information about myself and all of my creative endeavors. So if you're interested in that, or personal readings or anything like that, spiritual advocacy and that kind of things, check it out on my site and send me a message. Thank you again so much for joining me, and for your audience. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you next time.